Hey everybody, welcome to this live. Um, as you can see, the title, All In Preview and Predictions. Now, what's funny is I just checked my guide on my Comcast here, Xfinity, if you will, and apparently they're not carrying it, as far as I know, unless it's going to be a late minute edition. So hopefully somebody will carry it. I don't know if anybody will stream it on Twitch or YouTube or even on Facebook, but I have a feeling somebody will, because the only other way you could see this is on Fight.tv, and you can see a kickoff show called 0 Hour on WGN America. Now, I want to see this, but maybe it's good that I don't right now, because financially it'll basically jump up my cable bill a little higher than it should be right now. But I got a feeling I'll be able to see it. I think someone's going to post it up real soon. After it's all said and done, they're going to capture it, post it, do something. So hopefully I'll be able to see it. But as you can see, in honor of it, if I can back up just a little bit, I am wearing, let me see, make sure you can see this. I am wearing the Golden Elite t-shirt. That you can see right there. I got this through Pro Wrestling Tees. This came a lot faster than than my order from WWEshop.com of a re-release of the NWO Wolfpack t-shirt, if you can believe that. In fact, when I go on the UPS app or website, it still says it's in transit, and that's over about almost going on 2 months now. So something happened. Either got lost or it's at the post office as we speak, but nobody's taking it seriously. People are like, wee. No offense, God, no offense. But yeah, in honor of that, I'm wearing this. I wore this. I actually had this just laying right there because I wore it the other day to work, and I was going to clean it. I have yet to clean it yet, but it's still wearable and everything. But I still got to kind of give it a wash. But I was also, but before I came on, I was actually wearing that T-shirt right there. I don't know if you can see it. There we go. Oh, not the chairs in the way. Hold on. Yeah, I was actually wearing that T-shirt behind me. But yeah, All In. This is kind of a big deal when one thinks about it, because it's independent wrestling. The way it's basically it's independent wrestling's WrestleMania on Labor Day weekend. Believe it or not. Which I guess is a good date to choose to have the event during, because you get day vacations. So I guess that's kind of cool. Some people are coming out and saying this is a historic. I know it's the air conditioning coming on. A lot of people are saying this is kind of historic. Like, this is a first time deal. This is not really the first time, and I mentioned this in my Topics on My Mind video earlier today. This is not really the first time independent wrestling has done something like this. As a matter of fact, there have been numerous times where this has happened, but it's happened before. But I think probably the most notable was actually kind of two ways around it. But probably the most notable that I know was back in 1988, 30 years ago, actually, which is kind of ironic. 30 years later, All In's happening. But 30 years ago, the AWA, along with the CWA and the WCCW, American Wrestling Association, Continental Wrestling Association, and World Class Championship Wrestling, came together to do a Super Clash pay-per-view. Now, Super Clash had been basically a regional had been an AWA exclusive event that I think would get broadcast on occasions on ESPN in its entirety, but then would be chopped up into different parts and then broadcast that way. It's like, here's Super Clash 1 Part 1, here's Super Clash 1 Part 2, or Super Clash 2 Part 1, Super Clash 2 Part 2. You get the idea. So so Super Clash would mainly be its own, would be an AWA only entity for a while. That is until we got to Super Clash 3. Now, I'm not saying that any promotions didn't work within these big events for like the AWA and all them. Other people from other promotions back then, they did. Ric Flair is a notable name of somebody that would come in, work an event while he was still champion of the NWA. But the reason for that is because a lot of these promotions were NWA affiliates at that time. This, however, is completely independent. There is no real affiliation. It's not, it's not. I mean, even though it consists of men and women from different promotions like Impact Wrestling, Ring of Honor, New Japan Pro Wrestling, PWG, Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, um, AAA in Mexico, CMLL in Mexico, you name it. Even though it's consisting of various men and women from those promotions, as well as it's actually given itself a WrestleMania-like vibe, because what you have going on right now in Chicago is called StarCast, which is basically a wrestling convention. So All In kind of coincides with that, and you got all these other personalities from there as well. Like you got Eric Bischoff there. You got, I think Booker T's going to be there, Bruce Pritchard, you name it. And some of these people have actually recently been part of WWE, either through the shows being on the WWE network or, just through appearances on Raw or SmackDown. Now here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. With all that said, All In, like I said, is basically, like I said, All In is not an original idea. It's original because of the fact that there's no real promotions affiliated with it, partnering up or anything like they did with Super Clash. But like I said, you got the men and women from those promotions, or that are most notable for being with those promotions, as part of this show. And some of these matchups might just be one and dones after they're all said and done. I think mostly when I also look at All In as being an independent, kind of like WrestleMania, an independent wrestling interpretation of WrestleMania and Bound for Glory, if you will. I look at All In as the people, as those that are major names in independent wrestling right now, like Cody Rhodes, the Young Bucks, the Bullet Club, which, let's be honest as well, All In is kind of like a Bullet Club exclusive pay-per-view. Kind of like NWO Sold Out, except this is not like, oh, Bullet Club's always going to go over. They're going to have a crooked referee and all that. No, it's basically it's an event that to me is like a celebration of independent wrestling, a celebration of what wrestling was, can, and will be, and could be. That's the way I look at it, because I think honestly, when you look at All In, it's basically, in my opinion, it's a clear-cut message to, in my opinion, like I said, it's a clear-cut message to a company like WWE saying, look, you can be a publicly traded company and all that, but this is the kind of thing you need to do to really get fans on your side. Because again, some of these matchups might be just one and dones after it's all said and done. You may never see these men and women go up against each other ever again. And with the reports that certain men and women are heading towards WWE anyway within the next month or so, this will be the last time you see them on an independent show of any kind, especially one of this magnitude. And when you think about it, it's also a great showcase for some of the unknowns of independent wrestling that the hardcore fans know of, but not everybody else really knows of, but they've heard of. And this is a great opening platform for them to come out and showcase what they can do. And when you think about it, it's also, in a sense, in a sense, and I think Cody and the Young Bucks know this, it's almost like an open worldwide audition for companies like WWE, companies like Impact, companies like Ring of Honor, New Japan, to probably sign or probably give some of these men and women a chance to compete in the ring or with the promotions. So overall, when one thinks about it, All In is basically like a total package. It's a celebration of independent wrestling and what it could be and what wrestling was, can, and will be like and could be like. It's an open door like platform for many unknown independent wrestlers, men and women, that, like I said, hardcore fans may know about, but not totally, to showcase their talent and maybe open the doors and impress those at these other promotions like WWE, Ring of Honor, New Japan, Impact Wrestling, you name it. Now, from what I understand, the show's supposed to go about 5 hours. 5 hours. Now, I don't know if that counts the zero. I don't know if that counts 0 hour. If it does, then it's basically 4 hours for the pay-per-view. But in total, it's about 5 hours. So, without further ado, that was just my PS4 there with my controller. Without further ado, let's take a look at the 10 matches lined up. And this being an independent wrestling show, it kind of might just go the 5 hours or close to it, or the 4 hours because of these matchups. Now, it's all deciding. Now, we don't know who really is going to be the main. Well, actually, I think we do know who's going to be the main event. The main event, no doubt, is going to be for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. Now, this is the first time since it disassociated itself with TNA, Impact Wrestling, and for the first time ever under the Billy Corgan regime, that the NWA is going to be on a huge platform of this magnitude, especially with a championship on the line. So there's only going to be really 2 championships. Everything else is just like regular matches with special stipulations and stuff. Kind of like I said, probably only time you're going to see these matchups happening. So let's start off with the over-the-budget Battle Royal. The winner is a 15-person Battle Royal to determine the number 1 contender to the ROH World Championship. Now, what it means by over the budget is basically, it's a joke of, it's basically a play on the fact that they probably went overboard with the, with the money and trying to get this event together. Now, this match, along with the other match I'm going to talk about, are going to be on 0 hour. So if you have WGN America, you'll be able to watch that. But basically, the winner of the over budget Battle Royal will go on later on. Will go on later on in the night. The winner of the Battle Royal will go on later on in the night to face Jay Lethal for the ROH World Championship. So honestly, we don't know who that's going to be, but I would say that they'll probably keep the belt on Jay. They might. And then again, this is being a historic event. They may change it. But since it's like basically since Ring of Honor is not really like co-sponsoring this or partnered up with anybody else, I think the only stipulation Ring of Honor has put out is, Jay could defend the title, but he has to retain it. So I think that's what's going to happen. So that takes care of that pay-per-view match, Jay Lethal situation, where I think he's going to retain over the Battle Royal winner, although they could surprise us. Now, the second 0 hour match is going to be the Briscoes, Jay and Mark, against SoCal Uncensored, Frankie Kazarian, and Scorpio Sky. I know what I've seen what the Briscoes can do. Very, very hardcore tag team when they want to be. I've seen what Frankie Kazarian can do, and I've seen somewhat of Scorpio Sky. I think I'm going to give the edge to the Briscoes. just because, you know, you want to continue momentum with them, and that if you need anybody to play the babyface, they're the most likely to play the babyfaces in any kind of situation, especially if it's against SoCal Uncensored. Who I understand are kind of like douchebags. Excuse my language there, Lord. I'm basically like douchebags in the wrestling community, as far as Ring of Honor is concerned. All right, let's take a look now at the actual matchups. There's 10 matches, but only 8 on the pay-per-view, 2 on the pre-show, or the 0 hour. So let's take a look at the first match that I think is going to open up the card. And that is a 4-way match between Britt Baker, who's one of the names I said could really open some eyes. This would be like her big audition. She's one of those names that people know about but not really know about. Against Chelsea Green, a.k.a. Lauren Van Ness from Impact Wrestling. The new Knockouts champion, Tessa Blanchard, who I'd be surprised if they haven't put the title on the line here. And this is the fourth competitor. This is kind of like an interesting dynamic. Madison Rayne. Now, the reason I bring that up is because, in case you're following WWE right now, with the Mae Young Classic, the current Mae Young Classic, Madison Rayne is a part of that as Ashley Rayne. Yeah. It's going to be quite interesting to see how this comes about. I mean, I'm not saying Madison won't be there to compete, but if she's not, and they say Madison was unable to compete due to contractual situations with WWE, which I think would get a massive heel reaction, or negative boos and heels reaction from the crowd, they're going to have to bring somebody else in. Hopefully they got somebody lined up just in case Madison can't be part of this. Hopefully she is, because she only competed, as far as I know, in the first round of the Mae Young Classic and lost. Bit of spoilers there. But hopefully she's able to compete in this match. If not, they're going to have to find some kind of replacement for her, because if there's anything WWE does not want to see, is one of their current competitors, even if it's just a competitor brought in for a certain event like the Mae Young Classic, the last thing they need is for that competitor to show up at another event, even if it's an independently financed wrestling event like All In. So hopefully they got somebody lined up just in case Madison can't make it. Hopefully. But I think they're going to go with Tessa Blanchard on this anyway, because she's got momentum right now. She's the new Knockouts champion, so you want to continue that momentum with Tessa. All right, next match, Stephen Amell of Green Arrow, CW's Green Arrow fame, takes on Christopher Daniels. This probably be one of the more talked about matches. It's one of the more media, how do I put it? Probably one of the more media outletted events, because Stephen Amell is a great actor. Great job doing, playing Oliver Harper. I think that's his name. Oliver or Green Arrow in Arrow. Awesome job there. And he did a decent job, in my opinion, playing Casey Jones in Out of the Shadows. So Stephen Amell here, I think, is going to go over Christopher Daniels. And this will probably be the last time you see Stephen compete in the ring for a while. But it'll be an interesting concept here, interesting scenario. But I expect Steven's going to go over Christopher here in the end, because one, he's a Hollywood star. He's close friends with Cody. And the last thing you need is bad publicity by saying, "Oh, this guy beat up on Stephen Amell and put him out of action, so he can't film any more Arrow for a while." You don't want that. You don't want that bad rep on your side. So I'm going with Stephen Amell to win this matchup. Next up, we get a 6-man tag team match. We have Rey Mysterio, Phoenix, and Bandino. And I've seen this Bandino. I was actually watching some of Triple Mania 26 on Twitch. He's got like a mask. I think he's got black hair, but he's got a mask. And they're from what's called the Elite Wrestling promotion in Mexico. So he's going to be teaming with Phoenix and Rey Mysterio against the Golden Elite of the Young Bucks and Kota Ibushi. You want to talk about a six-man tag that's going to either open the show or be in the middle of the show, but still it and be like the match of the night? This will do it. This will do it. And and ladies and gentlemen, you're going to have to enjoy this match with Rey Mysterio in there as best you can, because according to reports, this will be probably the last independent booking Rey's going to take, because from what I understand, I could be wrong, reports are Rey Mysterio is supposed to be heading back to WWE within the next month or so. So enjoy this while you can, and hopefully Rey goes out on the independent circuit with a bang when it comes to his matchup. And I do predict, well, it's kind of a toss-up. I mean, this is a situation to where this is Bullet Club, in a sense, All In. It's basically like a Bullet Club sponsored event, so you'd want the Bullet Club to go over in some way, or the Elite to go over. It's kind of a toss-up. So I think I'm just going to say we'll have to wait and see. It's a toss-up. I mean, I'd like to see Rey, Phoenix, and Bandito go over, but I think Golden Elite's going to go over. So, well, that's what I'm thinking. Golden Elite's going to go over, but I want them to both go over. I do. I want both of them to come out good. So it's a total toss-up, so we'll have to wait and see. Next match, Joey Janela with Penelope Ford versus Hangman Page, Chicago Street Fight. Again, just like with Britt Baker, this is basically Joey Janela and Penelope Ford's big auditioning right here for Impact Wrestling, New Japan, Ring of Honor, and WWE. This is a big audition here against Hangman Page. And this being a Chicago Street Fight, I think this is going to be good. It's going to be hard-hitting, if not hardcore. And I would say this is one time I think Bullet Club's going to go over. So I would say Hangman Page goes over Joey Janela, unless they feel Joey Janela is the future of this business along with Penelope Ford, then they will let Joey go over. But I'm most likely thinking they're going to let Hangman Page go over. That's what I think is going to happen. Next match, Kensuke Okada versus Marty Scurll. From what I understand, Okada's developed a little bit of a goofiness now since he lost the IWGP Championship to Omega. So this is going to be interesting. I think Okada, because people love him and he's over no matter where he goes. And I think because of the respect that Rhodes and Omega have for him, I think Okada's going to go, and Marty Scurll obviously has for him. I think Okada's going to go over in this one. I think Okada's got the match in his hands. It's going to be a good match. It's going to be good, but I think Kensuke Okada, sorry if I pronounced that wrong, is going to go over Marty Scurll. I just feel it's inevitable there. Then we got Kenny Omega and Pentagon Jr. or Pentagon Dark, Zero Manero, or Zero Manero, Zero Fear. This will be an awesome match. This and the main event, I think, is going to be awesome. This, along with the six-man in the main event, which will be the NWA title, are going to be great matches. Omega and Pentagon are hard-hitting guys. Will get violent if they have to. And again, just like with the six-man tag, this is a toss-up. Because Pentagon Jr. is a big name right now. It's got a mainstream name right now, if you will, that, if Kenny goes over, fans will. It's one of those situations where if Kenny goes over, Kenny's going to get hated on. But if Pentagon goes over, he's going to get hated on if he goes over Kenny. So again, just like with the six-man tag, this is a toss-up between Pentagon Jr. and Kenny Omega, but I definitely suspect a show stealer. I really do. So, again, that's another, we'll have to wait and see what happened, another toss-up, just like with the six-man tag. And then the main event, Nick Aldis, the NWA World Heavyweight Champion, Nick Aldis, a.k.a. Magnus from TNA, Impact Wrestling, taking on Cody Rhodes, NWA World Championship. And they've been building this up for almost about a year now. And I'm going to say that I think they're going to go with Cody. The way they've been building this up through the little vignettes they've had on the NWA YouTube page, chasing the gold, stuff like that, the 10 pounds of gold segments on the NWA's YouTube page. I mean, again, this could be a toss-up, but I think everything's going to go right into Cody's lap. I really do. And it's not because he helps bring this event to life along with the Young Bucks and many others. I just think the way they're building it up storyline-wise and everything, they're going to go with Cody. I think Cody's going to end the night by walking out after a great matchup, a show-stealing matchup with Nick, that I think he's going to walk out with the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. I really do. And this would be historic because now you would have a faction. What I'm saying is this would be historic because now you would have a single solitary faction, a wrestling faction that is, in the Bullet Club with two major world championships in the possession, that being the IWGP title and the NWA title. But again, this could be a toss-up, but I think most than likely Cody's going over in this match. I mean, they've hyped it up too much to where it's got to be Cody. I think they know Nick's going to get Nick Aldis, when he goes in, he's going to get a mixed reaction, but most of that mixed reaction is going to be negative, going to be booing towards him, and Cody's going to get the babyface one. So I would suspect that in the end, Cody's going to win, and Cody's going to walk out with the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. Do I see Cody holding it long? I don't think he's going to hold it too long. I'd say Cody's going to be a champion that holds on to the championship. And I don't want to be mean about this if he's watching, but I think the way the NWA operates, Cody's going to probably hold the belt for at least a couple months until about the Thanksgiving holiday. And then he'll probably drop it back to Nick or whoever they choose to go over him for that championship, that being the NWA and Billy Corgan and all that. So overall, I think everything goes to Cody in the main event. I think Cody walks out NWA champion and thus gives the Bullet Club 2 major world championships in their possession. History made right there. So again, to go over, I think Omega and Pentagon are a toss-up. Same with the 6-man tag. I think Stephen Amell is going to go over Christopher Daniels. Jay Lethal is going to retain the Ring of Honor Championship against whoever wins the Battle Royal. I think Tessa Blanchard is going to win the four-way match, and I think this will be, and I think for Britt Baker, this is going to be a showcase to show what she could do, and I wouldn't be surprised if she gets signed by somebody after this. I think the Briscoes are going to go over SoCal Uncensored. I think Hangman Page is going to go over Joey Janela. And just like with Britt Baker, I think for Joey and Penelope, this is going to be a showcase to show what they can do. And again, just like Britt, I wouldn't be surprised if they get contacted by one of those promotions I mentioned earlier after this is all said and done. And I think Okada is going to go over Marty Scurll. I really do. So overall, though, those are just my predictions on how I think the match is going to go for All In. And I want to give my congratulations out to the Young Bucks, Cody, and the Bullet Club for pulling this off, bringing this together, making this happen, because fans do need an alternative besides just Impact Wrestling and Ring of Honor. They need a true alternative. And I think the main message that's going to be sent with this is to any promotion that's like, let's say, WWE. You could be fun, but you could, to me, I think what I'm saying is this is going to send a message to WWE of, hey, you want to be fun again? Do something like this, and you might be surprised at the reaction you get. So Godspeed to them, and good luck to Cody and the Young Bucks on this night, tomorrow night in the Sears Center. Hope you guys have a great, successful event. And like I said in my topics video earlier this morning when I talked about if it would be a success. The only way it's going to be success is if Cody wins it, walks out with that NWA championship. So if he does that, it'll be the success it needs to be because people are going to want to watch the replay over and over and over. They're going to be wanting to watch it, reorder it just to see that moment. So overall, though, folks, that's going to pretty much do it for my all-in preview and prediction show. Thank you all for watching live, and thank you all for watching post live. Let me know what you all think down below in the comment section below, and I will talk to you all later. I am out.